back to another Artifact Corner. Today we will be looking at a sword belonging to Frank Hall, the husband of Fannie Delord Webb Hall. Frank served as a chaplain in the American Civil War. Because Frank was a non-combatant, he was not issued this sword. This must have been given to him during his time with the New York 16th Volunteer Regiment. This sword is in great condition, and we thought it would be neat to learn a bit more about the history of swords and bladesmithing. Humans have been making weapons since the dawn of time. Initially, humans used wood and stone to craft weapons. Sometime around 6,500 BCE, humans discovered copper and how to work it into useful tools. Copper is a soft metal, and while it can hold an edge, it is very easily dulled. By around 3000 BCE, humans had discovered that if they added tin to their copper, it could create a new and stronger metal called bronze. Metalsmiths in the Bronze Age would cast daggers and what we would call today a short sword. These swords were very expensive during this time and were often decorative or used as a status symbol. They are also often found in high-ranking burials. The Iron Age, i.e. when people started working with iron, began at different times and different places, but roughly between 1500 to 500 BCE. The ability to manipulate iron was a game changer for weapons manufacturing. Copper and bronze swords could only be so long due to the soft nature of the metal. Iron, and subsequently steel, is so much stronger that the shape and length of weapons evolved in amazing ways. The earliest iron swords resembled their bronze counterparts in terms of shape. Early Iron Age swords were significantly different from later steel swords. They were work-hardened rather than quench-hardened, which made them about the same or only slightly better in terms of strength and hardness to earlier bronze swords. This meant that they could still be bent out of shape during use. The easier production, however, and the greater availability of the raw material allowed for much larger scale production of iron weapons. Eventually, smiths learned the process of refining smelted iron and making steel. By quenching, which makes the steel hard and brittle, good for holding an edge, and tempering, which helps reduce the brittleness, swords could be made that would suffer much less damage and would spring back into shape if bent. It took a long time, however, before this was done consistently, and even until the end of the early medieval period, many swords were still unhardened iron. The smiths of the past used charcoal and later coal to heat and work steel. Both charcoal and coal can get hot enough to make the steel pliable and give the smith the ability to shape the metal. A good working temperature for steel is in the range of 1800 to 2100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the steel will be yellow in color. There are so many different sword shapes and styles, and they vary greatly by culture and a myriad of other factors. Swords evolved as armor evolved. With the introduction of black powder and firearms, swords became more ceremonial. Today, bladesmiths make functional and decorative pieces. Today, we can still use coal or charcoal to forge, but we also have propane forges which hold the forge at a consistent temperature. This Civil War sword is one of many we have in our collections. It is in quite good shape, but we won't be using it for battle anytime soon. It is a beautiful reminder of the long and fascinating history of sword making, and we are so lucky to have it in our collections. Thanks so much for stopping by.